Yeah. Yeah. You know it. You know it. You know it. Let's go.
We ballin', boy.
Y'all know what's going on. Everything about them Canes. Let's go. What's going on?
We on our way to the Rose Bowl. This is no good Kane show. Number one, Kane fans have some fun on the road. Rose Bowl title. So don't try to front seat. Number one.
Yo. What's the dealio? What's going on? What's going on? We here for another episode. We here to talk about them Canes. Y'all know how we do. Everything is all Canes each and every day, each and every way. So we're here to talk about, we just finished up. We played Louisville last week. We lost. There's been a ton of podcasts where it look like the world is on fire for Miami right now. Miami has lost their first game of the year to Louisville, who was unranked, who everyone is says Miami always drops a game like this under Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal can beat the good teams, but when it comes to the bad teams, somehow he struggles. Kind of not sure what that's about. But, typically that's what happens with Mario Cristobal. At some point in the season last year, the loss was to Georgia Tech. We were 9-0 at the time with the Georgia Tech. Lost that game, and then last game of the year, which I was at, I had a bad feeling. I said, man, I got to go see the Canes one more time because I was at the Virginia Tech game, and I said, I got to drive up to Syracuse to go see this game because I knew if we lost that game, that was the last time we was going to see Cam Ward play for Miami because I had tickets to the ACC championship game. So if we'd have won that game, we were going to the ACC championship game. But I just had a very weird feeling. I thought, man, I got to go to Syracuse. And I went to Syracuse, man. I watched the game. We was up. My brother FaceTiming me during the game. We going crazy. And then next thing you know, all hell broke loose. So a lot of fans are kind of in uproar. You got different podcasts, saying different things. And pretty much like they say, when it rains, it pours. So when you win and everything is going good and some of your flaws, it's easy to kind of skip over those things. But once you lose, everything is free now. Every player who's upset is going to have something to say. Every parent is going to have something to say. Everybody who hates the coaching staff, who hates the offensive scheme, who hates the defensive scheme, who feels like their favorite player isn't playing enough, whether that's their nephew, son, a player they coached, friend, family, just their favorite player. When you lose, it's tough, man. When you're winning, no one is complaining. So recently, just over the last couple of days, was doing a bunch of research and looking things up, and a lot of people are wondering why JoJo Trader isn't playing. Now, I'm saying this, not saying to take this for face value, but just saying this is what I've heard. Because JoJo Trader coming into the year in spring ball, he was considered our best overall receiver. At the time, CJ Daniels wasn't playing. He was coming off an injury. But JoJo was clearly considered the best receiver we had. He got hurt in fall camp, played a little bit against Notre Dame, tried to throw him 2 bombs, passes were broken up. And then from there, we didn't see him again until this past week. So this is game 6. So we didn't see him for 4 straight games. And then on the 5th game, we seen him for 1 play when CJ Daniels got hurt. So just kind of trying to figure that out. Mario kept saying that JoJo needs to play harder, earn his spot back. Essentially, that's kind of what we're hearing. But a lot of people are saying that's not what it is, that it's something completely different. That I don't have answers on. It could be something completely different. I don't know. One of the things that I saw a fan comment, not sure if this is true. A lot of people have said he was in a doghouse. He might have got suspended with something, along with Marquise Williams. Marquise Williams was dismissed from the team. I think maybe after the Notre Dame game, if I'm not mistaken. but it was pretty early in the season. I heard he had a couple issues or something in the past, but I guess whatever this was may have been the final straw. And I just recently heard somewhere that they were trying to say they got pulled over in a car, may have been some weed or something in it. I'm not too sure. Don't take me that for face value. Don't take that for face value from me. This is just kind of speculation. But outside of that, there's definitely something going on because there's no way that a talent like JoJo Trader is just isn't playing. It's no way he's not practicing that hard and just something happened. Where he put himself in the doghouse. Now, Mario being Mario, I don't think that will ever come out what it is because he keeps everything in house, everything close to the hip. But I'm sure if someone has boots on the ground, family on the ground in Miami, someone knows something. I'm sure JoJo family knows something, or people that are close to JoJo know kind of things or what is going on with there. Since then they're talking about a lot of players potentially hitting the transfer portal after the season. Naikar, Ray Ray, JoJo, Jordan Lau. If Naikar hits the transfer portal, not surprised. He already hit the transfer portal this year in return. So that wouldn't be surprising. And JoJo, based upon what's going on now, I wouldn't be surprised because it's just like something's going on. So I wouldn't be surprised. Ray Joseph, I mean, he stayed down for 3 years. Seems as though he can't crack the rotation. I wouldn't be mad at him transferring. I do think, however, that Ray Joseph has talent that we aren't using. Now, do I think he's elite in a slot? No, but I think you can use him, though. I think he has speed. I think if we play to the strength of some of those players, get them in space, I think he can be an asset for us. But we're not using them that way, and I think that's problematic. Other player who they mentioned was Jordan Lau. Now, Jordan Lau got hurt. I was at the Notre Dame game, and I watched when he got hurt. First couple times, I didn't like what I was seeing. Not from him, but I felt like the Notre Dame players were kind of doing dirty. It was like they were kind of trying to tackle his ankles. It was weird. Like they were trying to, we're running in this pile and we're running that duo concept. And it was like players was coming in and just grabbing his ankle. And so now, you're getting tackled which type of way your ankles bending all funny. I saw that during the game. And I'm like, what is this about? This is dirty. Like, what are they doing? What's his name? Jordan Lau was out for a few games. Now they're trying to work him back in. I think the problem is once he went out, our third running back, Marty Brown, we got from South Dakota State, or was it North Dakota State? One of those two, whichever one is green and yellow. I think that's maybe North Dakota State. Well, he came from North Dakota State, but he was hooping. As soon as he came in, he was hooping straight to it. So now him and Mark Fletcher kind of developed this 1-2 punch where they both were rushing like 13, 14, maybe 15 touches a game against Florida. I think Fletcher might have had 20 or close to 20 touches, and Marty Brown maybe 13, 14, 15, something like that. So they're kind of in a rhythm. And now I feel like with Lau back, they're trying to force him in the game because he kind of has to play. He was your starting running back at the beginning of the year. And we live in this transfer portal era. Like, you can't sit talent like that. But I think it's rather problematic because Jordan Lau has been back 2 games and our running game has been trash since he's been back. And that's not me blaming him. I'm not. I think Jordan Lau can flat out play. I think he's a stud. What I think it is like we're trying to force it now. So we're trying to force him into the game. We're trying to force these touches to him, where I've always thought that based upon our running scheme, I would rush Jordan Lau a lot more in the second half when teams have worn down a little bit based upon our running scheme. This is my opinion. Or he does have the same patience a little bit that Damian Martinez had. It took Damian Martinez a long, long time to get going last year. Once he figured out his way, he was good. But here's the thing. Last year, if you look at it, we mainly rushed 2 guys. We didn't try this balanced attack where everybody got the same amount of rushes. No, that's not what we did. Damian Martinez had the most rushes. then followed by Fletcher, who had a good amount, and then it was like a mix between Lau had a few, AJ Allen had a few. So whoever was the third back really wasn't getting a lot of opportunities anyway. Per like some games they didn't play at all. So now we're in a tough situation because Lau cannot. If Lau don't play some games, he's hitting the door. Okay, Mark Fletcher, if he don't play some games, you're tripping. He's either transferring or going to the NFL next year. Marty Brown, he don't play some games. So now you're in this weird space. What are you going to do? Now you're trying to feed 3 running backs, so no one is displeased and no one leaves. But at the same time, now you're trying to feed multiple receivers. So you have the CJ Daniels, you have the Malachi Tony, you have the Keelan Murray's. Now behind them, there's Tony Johnson, who I think can get some reps. There's a Ray Joseph, who I think can get some reps. There's a Josiah Trader, who I think who can get some reps. They say that Chance Robinson is a guy. Maybe he should get some reps. Josh Moore, they can get some reps. Dylan Upshaw, they can get some reps. Now, here's the interesting dynamic there. How do we get those guys in the game? And the reason I ask that is because it ain't like we blowing teams out. We're trying to keep the game low scoring because we have to give our defense a break. Why do we have to give our defense a break? Because our defensive line isn't a deep unit. Ruben Bain is already playing 60 plus plays a game. His body is going to break down, and he's not going to be able to keep that up week in and week out. So because we don't have the depth to be able to play that many plays on defense, we have to slow the game down. Now, by slowing the game down, that also keeps the games a little bit closer. So I think that also messes with the offensive rhythm as well. And because that keeps the game a little bit closer, guess what else happens now? Now you're not able to get these other guys in and get these reps. So now you're going to have displeased players. As well as having displeased players, you're going to have undeveloped players. So now when you come into the next season, you're dealing with the same issue. You're dealing with players that are undeveloped where everyone is saying, hey, we don't know what we have. What do we have going into the next season? No one knows. Right? And why doesn't anyone know? Well, no one knows because we haven't seen them play. They aren't getting game reps. So it's a real kind of like delicate situation. I don't have the answer for it. I know I don't have the answer for it. I'm not even going to pretend that I have the answer for it. Like, literally, I do not have the answer for this at all. So I'm not sure what the answer is. I'm not sure what needs to be done in this regard, but I am seeing that. And I am seeing a pattern of our coaches sticking to their guns, even in listening to Shannon Dawson interview. And I'm eventually learn how to do the setup where you pull the video clips up along the video. Right now, I don't know how to do that. I'll eventually get to that though, and that'll be a part of what I'm doing. But for right now, I'm just able to speak and talk about the things that I'm witnessing and just my thoughts. Right. So what scares me about these coaches is that it looks like and it sounds like they're going to stick to their guns no matter what's happening, and they're going to stick to their guns. We heard a lot in the interviews this week with the coaches. We heard them say, essentially, we didn't execute. We didn't execute. Okay, that's fair. Now, if we're saying we didn't execute because maybe a pass was dropped that shouldn't have been dropped, maybe it was a good run and then a fumble because somebody wasn't paying attention, had the ball loose, maybe Carson Beck made a wrong read, but for a specific reason. Things like that, I could say, okay, we need to execute. Or maybe a lineman got out a little too slow to a block because he was thinking about something he wasn't supposed to be thinking about. He was delaying. I can give you that. But now, when we talk about execution on a play where Carson Beck is throwing the ball into quadruple coverage, or there's clearly someone in the flat and it's like he's forcing the ball, I don't really think, well, technically it goes under the category of execution, but at the same time, I don't think that, I think that's more problematic. And here's why I say that. I think that's more problematic than traditional execution because it's almost like a level of how do I correct that? You know what I mean? Like if you're being greedy and throwing, if there's 3 safeties back there, 2 safeties, and you think that's what open is, how do I correct that at this point? And this isn't me harping on Carson Beck. This isn't even about anything like that. This is just me taking into account what the coaches have said and me trying to see the silver lining in it or how it can get corrected. You follow me? So some of these things, I'm like, I don't know. Like, if we're going to continue to call the same run plays straight up the A gap, every team knows we're going to do that. It's tape out on that now. Florida figured out how to stop it a little bit. Florida State figured out how to stop it. Louisville figured out how to stop it. We're not going to adjust from that now. Now we're just going to keep saying we didn't execute. That's the problem, because now after that, we just continue to hear we didn't execute, right? So if we didn't execute and it's not working, it's like they're stacking the box and they shooting the gap. They're not letting us do it. Like, you're going to have to beat us another way. Essentially is what defenses are saying. You're going to have to beat us another way. And if we're choosing to not beat them another way, where there's clearly, hey, let's go to the outside, things like that. And we're like, nope, we're not going to do it. We're just going to keep going up the gut. I don't know if execution is the word for that. You following me? I don't know. Like, execution to me is you ran to the outside, it was there, and there was a fumble on a handoff. You didn't execute that. But if they're stacking the box and you're trying to continue to run where they're putting everyone at and you can't do it, maybe you feel like, well, he should have been a little stronger and pushed his block. Maybe. But we probably should have ran to the outside or audible. Like when you look at the Louisville game, when we had Meswador and we had Bain on the same side and they saw we were about to do that, they called an audible and switched Isaac Brown from the right side to the left side so he can get the ball and run that way to the right. Because that's where our lighter defensive ends was. I think it was Blunt and Lightfoot on that side. Them big boys moved them right out the way. Right? That's what I mean. They could have said, you know what, Bain and Meswador right there, we're still going to run the ball right there. They could have said that. They could have said that. But they did not say that. You see what I'm saying? They didn't say that. They ran the opposite way because that's where the strength of your team is. I'm going to sometimes take what you give me. It reminds me, and I'm a big boxing guy. Terrence Crawford is my guy. It reminds me of what Terrence Crawford says when they ask him about his fights. If you look at Terrence Crawford, right, and I often parallel sports across sports. So I'll parallel an example in basketball, football, baseball, whatever. So stick with me. So oftentimes you'll hear Terrence Crawford talked about the Canelo fight, and pretty much they were asking him prior to the fight if he was going to go for the knockout. And what Terrence Crawford essentially was saying was, if it's there, right? So he's saying, I'm going to take what is given to me. If it's there, I'll go for the knockout. But if it's not there, I'm not foolish enough to go in there like a chicken with my head cut off, because then I may run into something. So I'm going to do what I do. I studied Canelo. I know what his strengths and his weaknesses are. So I prepared for that. But I'm going to do what I do. And if that opportunity is there, I take it. And that's what we need to see from Miami against Stanford. Don't force anything. Now, you can come out and try to punch them in their mouth and say, man, last week was a hiccup. I'm for that. I'm 100% for that. But also be smart, be calculated, because I don't want us to create bad habits against Stanford, because we got SMU right after that. So how we start the game against Stanford will tell me a lot, because then we go to SMU. And SMU has Rhett Lashley, who's one of the better play callers in the country. And I'm very scared of that game. You know why I'm scared to play against SMU? I'm scared to play against SMU for this reason here. Rhett Lashley is an offensive coordinator and a play calling savant. Okay? So Rhett Lashley reminds me a little bit of Braun. And so I have no history, no recollection, no type of faith that our coaches are going to change what they're going to do. So essentially, you're about to run into a buzzsaw of what you're about to go up against is your Achilles heel, historically. And if you go into that game with, hey, we're going to do it our way. Hey, we're going to do how we doing. There's nothing you're going to do about it. You are in trouble, especially as the season has progressed and teams have tape on you and teams are scheming up. Now, if teams schemed up and you just moving people out the way no matter what, cool. But that isn't working. So what else do we have in a bag? Can we go up 14 points real quick? Can we do that and make the other team start pressing? Because now our defense could play fast, furious, make other teams force plays. Now they can get picks and interceptions. Now our offense could be methodical and they can pick and choose when they want. It's going to be hard to come back if our defense, well, teams have came back on our defense, but we pulled out those games. And I think those teams have came back because we took our foot off the gas. But that's neither here nor there, right? So I say that to say we got our work cut out for us, right? We got our work cut out for us. It's a long season. If we beat Stanford and then we go play SMU, let me tell you something. If we lose to SMU, so we beat Stanford and we 6-1, we lose to SMU. If we're out of the playoff race by week 8, the fourth game in ACC play, it will be an uproar. You understand? It will be an uproar. People will go ballistic. That's why that Louisville game meant so much, because SMU, I don't know, man. But, everybody, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be back on Friday, the night before the game, to go over the game, go over thoughts, look at the roster, see what Louisville has. I watch some of their film, see what Stanford has, see what they've done. I watched a little bit of their Florida State game, and they kept Florida State they kept Florida State scoring now. So, the defense look like they're flying around. The defense look like they're playing ball. And guess what? They have Andrew Luck as their GM. Okay? So, they have a quarterback over there who played at the highest level, who was great in the NFL, who was very great in college, number 1 pick overall. So they have a talent over there who understands the game over there. So Shannon Dawson, Corey Heatherman, you're about to go up against a mind on the other side. What can we do? Because they're not going to let us, teams ain't going to just let us come in and bully. Louisville didn't let us do it. They was cut blocking, getting the ball out fast. Will we make adjustments, or will we allow teams to continue to do that? My DBs, hey, man, they may not be the best press coverage guys, but shoot, they can't be 10 yards off the ball and bailing. Not no more, because it's on tape. Teams are going to get the ball out fast when they see it. Hey, they bailing, audible, boop. There we go. So we got our work cut out, man. But thanks for rocking with me. I'm here. We're going to grow this page. We're going to grow this channel. We're going to grow this movement. It's always good to be a Cane. We love the Canes. I'm just excited to go on this journey to learn more about this podcast space, to learn more about this entire YouTube thing and how to work. Like, I don't know how to do any of this right now. This is all brand new to me. So I'm going to figure this out, but we're going to continue to get a perspective. We're just going to continue to be consistent, and we're going to make this thing happen. And yeah, man, y'all know how we do it, man. Canes every day, man.
We ballin', boy.
Do you?
We on our way to the Rose Bowl. This is no good, it can't show. No one. Cane fans have some fun on the